A fight is by way to strength the world navigation production to act its portion in dealing environment changing. A meet of the World Marine Organization in London following 1 week will person demands for navigation to drastically bring its CO2 emissions. If navigation doesn't pure up, it could promote nearly a fifth of the world full of CO2 by 2050. A team of nations led by Brazil, Saudi Arabia, India, Panama, and Argentina is resistant CO2 targets for navigation. Their subordination to the meet says corking sea vessels' common emissions would limit planet trading. It might as well strengthen consumer goods onto less than effective forms of transportation. The reason is sacked by some countries that trust navigation could in fact gain of a change to janitor technique. We are calling some members of the World Marine Organization, International Maritime Organization, to assist set an aspiring policy to cut emissions of sea vessels. The UK is backed by some Europe nations in a suggestion to decrease navigation emissions by 70%, 100% of their 2008 levels by 2050. Guy Platten of the UK Camera of Navigation told, "We urge on the world navigation production to get over these proposals, not fair since it is in their interests to do so, but since it is the law item to do same social expects us all to get activity, they know how world trading brings prosper, but they fairly consumer demand it is carried out in a stable and ecologically amiable path. We must hear to such demands, and the period for activity is currently. The issue has advanced above lot year. As the navigation production is world, it evades the carbon sequestration cutting impact of the yearly UN negotiations on environment changing, that are carried out on a domestic base. Instead of the decisions include been leftward to the International Maritime Organization, a flesh newly criticized for its absence of accountable and clarity. The IMO did accept a style norm in 2011 enabling how new sea vessels should be 30% more than effective by 2025. But down there is no guideline to bring emissions of the current Navy. The Pure Navigation Coalition, a verdant team focus on sea vessels, told navigation should correspond to treaty done in Paris to stabilize the world heat growth as shut as probable to. A representative told, same Paris heat goals are total objectives. They are not contingent on if the world economics thinks they are attainable or no. So the blood pressure is on the IMO to make an aspiring politics. The EU has endangered how if the IMO doesn't go far quite, the EU will get above regulation Europe navigation. How would see the IMO undressed of several of its credibility. Yet, he told, Panama, as a evolving nation how depends on the marine segment for its advance, and aware how the well-being of its people relies on navigation, believes in the need of a so although out and investigated policy how allows stable and effective reducing of emissions. To hurry in an uncalculated policy how urged to bring emissions to null by the year 2050 does not get in expense the present country of technique. Campaigners say enormous improved in CO2 emissions of current sea vessels can be readily be done by accommodating them to journey more than slow. They say a carbon sequestration price framework is necessary. World navigation produces on 1,000 millionth tons of CO2 every year, house more than rather than the whole Deutsche Economics. The meet rest of Tuesday.